Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 8th edition of the Monday Morning Blank Makers series. It is a series of pens that I make using well-known and not so well-known blank makers from around the United States and some even around the world. Today, we are going to talk about this blank, which is called Gaia, I believe, and it's from Papa J, which is a husband and wife team that have been making pens for about almost 5 years out of Illinois. They are good people, and they make some really interesting stuff, and we'll talk about that. All right, let's get into it. One of the things about this blank is it's really not my color palette. If you know who I am, I'm not a big gold fan. It's just not in my wheelhouse. And this has a lot of gold flakes, and it's a striking blank. Like I said, I didn't want to like this blank, but guess what? I learned to like this blank because it's absolutely very striking. And it doesn't overtake, the gold does not overtake the blank so much as it does add to it. Luke, one of the owners of Papa J, he doesn't overpower his blanks with one single color. And something that he does that I don't see from a lot of other people is it's almost like his blanks look like they're made in the clouds, if I may say. If you can see, they look so almost celestial, or sort of, and that's a very hard thing to do. I think he does a great job of making them seem like they're just floating. A lot of times you'll see stuff like this and it won't be as well proportioned, but he does a good job of proportioning the color flake here with the other ivory or white pearlescent material. And I think that looks really good. So I guess I like this blank. So what size blanks does he make? Well, he makes the 9-inch blanks that I've got from him. They're 9 inches. And if you want to make like an emperor size pen, and this is my medium size pen, and I think I've gone over that many times. I make most of these in medium size, but I will be making emperor size. Not usually my smaller pen, which is a 1/2 inch thread instead of a 9/16 diameter thread, which is this one. So he makes the smaller blanks. Can you use them? Obviously you can. You can get a cap, a barrel, and a section out of it. But if you're making anything larger than this, it's going to be difficult. And obviously I added a clip, but it's my waterfall clip, so you don't need 2 pieces to the cap. Do I wish that he made 12-inch blanks? Yeah, I do. I think that the 12-inch blank is really good for the custom market. But this 9-inch blank seems to work for most of people's pen making. But I really think the 12-inch blank is the way to go. that being said, you know, it's not a deal breaker. So how was this blank to turn? If I said it was predictable, I'd be lying, because I originally thought, because of all of this goldy stuff, that I thought I was going to get a lot of pinholing and I was going to get a lot of this flake stuff to come off. I don't know what it is in there. It looks like some type of flake material. It could be discolorant, I'm not sure, but it didn't flake. Now, it did come off sort of powdery when I was turning it, and I tried turning it fast or slow, and I don't think it really mattered. It didn't really matter with this blank that you could turn it at, you know, a high speed with slow feed, or you could turn it with, you know, a moderate feed. The blank really reacted well, which surprised me. Like I said, I thought it was going to pinhole a lot, and it didn't, and it really turned well. Again, it didn't come off in strings, but it came off as powdered, and I think that might have a lot to do with the type of material that he's making his blanks out of. So for people who make pens using taps and dies, I think this would be good, but I think it might come off a little cloudy. I'm not sure, but it threaded well using single point threading on a lathe. It was very easy to thread. It's a little bit soft, this blank, as compared to some of the other blanks I use, but not so much where it was annoying. I mean, it still stood up to my threading, and the threads came out very clean, obviously, as you see. It's a well-mannered blank, and I think that's important to note. And I think that this blank can be used by just about anyone. This is the only blank that I've ever used from Papa J. So this is the first Monday morning series where I used a blank that I haven't used before. I haven't used his material. This is the first time for me. So if I'm acting like everything is a revelation, it actually is. Everyone's prior to this, I've made their blanks into pens prior to this. Jonathan Brooks, Nick Pasquale, all of them. I can't keep naming them off names or I'll put myself on the spot, but I've used all of their blanks prior, so I had a pretty good indication. But this was great, this actual pen, was because it's the first time I ever turned one of his blanks. And it won't be the last time. I really like the way that it handled. It was a well-mannered blank, and it looks good. So one of the things I think that I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start mentioning what the price of blanks are. I should have been doing that all along, and I didn't. And on this one here, $17 for this 9-inch blank, which I think is pretty good. And from now on, I'll be getting the prices of the blanks from the people that I get them from, and I'll be mentioning them and I'll be telling you whether I think that's a good price, whether I don't think it's a good price. But I think for this blank, or this one here, if this was around the same price, then I would consider that a bargain. These blanks, a lot of guys are putting a lot of time and effort into these blanks. And the reason is because they're looking for their own identity. They're looking for their own look. They're looking for something that's going to just, hey, when you see that blank, you know that that's his blank. With Luke and his wife, they do a lot of floral stuff. That's what they're known for. But they're going to start getting into like metal work. I've been talking to him lately, and he's starting to get into doing some metal work, and he's going to start adding a lot of more metal features with his pen, which I think is a great idea. I don't think enough people do that. And I don't care how you do it. You can do it handmade like David Broadwell or, Jason Olson, or you can do it, semi-custom where you can buy them pre-made parts and then finish them. And I'm not sure who does that, but there are a few. or you can do them and you can have them made. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are having their parts made and then they're finishing them in house. Look, I'm no one to tell anybody how to do things. I don't care. What it matters is the product good? Does it look good? Does it write well? And that's really the biggest thing here. So as far as cost, then, to end this conversation about that in this segment, I think it's a good deal. Even if this blank was $25, I would think it was a good deal. Let's say that you make this pen, and this is a beautiful blank, and you charge $300-400 just for a three-piece pen with a Joe O nib. That's a good deal, especially for a striking blank like this. So I do think it's a good bargain. So the last question is, Tim, would you use Papa J's blanks again? And overwhelmingly, yeah, I would. I think they're nice blanks. I do wish that they were, a little bit longer so I could make emperor-sized pens, because I do make a lot of those. And in case something happened, you had a mess up, you had a piece extra. But you could buy 2 of these blanks for $30, and if you're selling your pens for a good price, you'll still make money off of this material. So there you have it. So next Monday Morning Pen, we're going to be dealing with some magic. All right. We'll talk to you later.